Hello friends, I am Kamakshi Khandelwal. I am a chartered accountant by profession. Welcome to my next session. My topic for today's deliberation is registration in GST. Before starting with my topic, I would like to take you through the journey. What is the background of registration? During the Empowered Committee meeting held on 10th March 2014, the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers had constituted a joint committee to look into the reports of Subgroup 1 on business processes for GST and make suitable recommendations for registration and return to the Empowered Committee. Accordingly, the draft GST business process on payment, registration and refund were released on 6th October 2015 in the public domain. After the passage of the constitutional amendments for GST and introduction of the model GST law, the government had released the draft GST rules on registration, invoicing and payments on 26 September 2016 and on returns and refunds on 27 September 2016. The said rules were put in for discussion in the 13th GST Council meeting, which was held on 31st March 2017. The government then released the revised rules on registration, refund, payment, invoice and some new rules on valuation, composition scheme, transitional provisions, ITC rules, e-way bill rules and assessment audit rules. The government has now, in its 14th GST Council meeting held on 18th and 19th May, finalized 9 rules, including the rules for registration along with its formats. So, let's start. When we talk of registration, the first question that comes in our mind is why registration is required in GST. Friends, registration is required to get legally recognized as the supplier of goods or services. We all know if our turnover is below the threshold limit, then registration is not required. But if we do not get ourselves registered, then we will not be able to claim the input tax credit of GST charged on various goods and services procured for running our businesses. Therefore, registration is of very much essence when you want to grow your business. You want to compete in the marketplace with competitors. So these are the important parameters why you should get yourself registered in GST. I have divided my presentation into different parts. I would be covering the following agenda. First, registration structure. Second, persons required to obtain registration. Third, the processes of registration. Fourth, amendment in registration. Fifth, cancellation of registration. First is the registration structure. First is single registration for CGST, SGST and IGST. Under the GST law, there are 3 types of laws: CGST, SGST and IGST. So a person is required to get itself registered under CGST and SGST if he is making any intra-state supplies of goods and services, and a person is required to get itself registered in the IGST law if it is making any interstate supplies of goods and services. So for this, a person has to apply for a single registration under the CGST Act in the state from where he is supplying goods or services. For example, a person has a business in 2 states, Delhi and Maharashtra. So, he has to take registration in both Delhi as well as Maharashtra separately. Next, PAN-based registration. Now I ask you one question. What are the 3 basic requirements for getting registered in GST? First is the PAN number. Second, mobile number. Third is the email ID. These are the 3 things basic things that are required to get yourself registered in GST. A person has to have these 3 things before applying for registration. Next point, separate registration. For example, ABC Limited is a company is having 3 manufacturing plants and warehouses in 25 states. So under the existing structure, the ABC Limited would be having 3 registrations under excise, 1 under service tax and 25 under VAT. So the total number of registration turns out to 29. Under GST, he has to obtain 25 registrations, 25 separate registrations in each state. So the total number of registrations has come down from 29 to 25. Now what will be the scenario for a service provider having centralized registration? Let's have a look. In the pre-GST regime, if a service provider is having centralized registration, then in GST, he has to take multiple state-wise registration. Centralized registration is not allowed in GST. So, if a service provider is having offices in 25 states, then he has to take 25 separate registrations in each such state instead of one single centralized registration as prevailing in the existing law. Next point, multiple business verticals within the states may have separate registration for each vertical. Now what are business verticals? According to section 2 clause 18 of the CGST Act, business vertical means a distinguishable component of an enterprise that is engaged in the supply of individual goods or services or a group of related goods or services which is subject to risks and returns that are different from those of the other business verticals. Explanation: for the purpose of this clause, factors that should be considered in determining whether the goods or services are related include the nature of the goods or services, the nature of the production processes, the type or class of customers for the goods or services, the methods used to distribute the goods or supply of service, and the nature of regulatory environment wherever applicable, including banking, insurance, public utilities. So, for example, HUL is an FMCG company operating in multiple states and having multiple business segments like soaps and detergent segment, which includes products like bathing soaps, detergent bars, detergent powder, etc. Personal product segment, which includes products like talcum powder, hair oil, deodorants, etc. Beverages segment, which include products like tea and coffee. So in GST, HUL has an option to obtain registration business vertical wise within a state. Now, obtaining registration business vertical wise has its own set of implications. If a company has obtained registration business vertical wise, then each business vertical of the company has to comply with all the requirements of the GST Act, as each business vertical is a distinct person for the purposes of GST. Like filing of return, each business vertical has to file its own return separately. Payment of taxes, each business vertical has to pay its tax liability separately. Excess payment of tax made in one business segment cannot be adjusted against the tax liability to be paid in another business segment. ITC, same provisions would be applicable for ITC. If a company has excess input tax credit available in one business segment and has a liability to be discharged in another business segment, then the company cannot utilize the excess input tax credit available in one business vertical to make payment of its tax liability of another business vertical. Such a provision is not allowed in the GST law. Next, stock transfer. Most important, if a company is making stock transfers within a state, intrastate stock transfers between the business verticals, then it shall charge GST on such intrastate stock transfers as against a company who shall not be charging any tax if it has taken a single registration for all its branches within a state. So, a company has to make a conscious decision to decide whether it has to take registration business vertical wise or a single registration, as compliances in taking registration business vertical wise would increase multifold. Now coming over to the GSTIN number. My GSTIN number is a PAN based 15-digit alphanumeric number. The first 2 digits represents the state code. For example, the state code for Delhi is 07, state code for Haryana is 06 and state code for Maharashtra is 17. So my first 2 digits will be 06 for Delhi, 07 for Haryana and 17 for 27 for Maharashtra. Now coming over to the next 10 digits. The next 10 digits are my PAN number. Next is the 13th digit. 13th digit represents the entity code. This digit would be alphanumeric and would be assigned depending on the number of registrations a legal entity having the same PAN has within a single state. For example, a legal entity with a single registration within a state would be having 1 as its 13-digit code. If another legal entity has 9 business verticals within a state, then that entity would be having 9 as its 13-digit code. If, for example, another company has 11 business verticals, then what would be its 13-digit? Up to 9 business verticals, the 13th digit would be in numeric form. After that, the choice shifts to alphabets. So after 9, the next digit would start from A to Z. So in my example, if an entity is having 11 business verticals in a state, then its 13th digit would be B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and then alphabets A and B. So in nutshell, a company can have total number of business verticals registered in a single state as 35. 9 numbers plus 26 alphabets is equal to 35. So the maximum number of business verticals in a state can be 35. Next is the 14th digit. Currently the 14th digit is Z by default. Last 15th digit. 15th digit is the checksum digit. So this is the GSTIN structure which is standardized throughout India. This GSTIN number is to be displayed at the name board, at the entry gate of the principal place of business and every additional place of business. Having understood the structure, the basic structure of GSTIN, let's move over to our next topic. Who are the persons required to obtain registration in GST? Section 22. It says, every supplier whose aggregate turnover in a financial year exceeds 20 lakh, 10 lakh for special category states, shall apply for registration within 30 days from the date he becomes liable in the state or union territory from where he makes a taxable supply of goods or service or both. So let us understand what is the aggregate turnover. How will this aggregate turnover be computed? According to section 2 clause 6 of the CGST Act, aggregate turnover means the aggregate value of all taxable supplies, excluding the value of inward supplies on which tax is payable by a person on a reverse charge basis, exempt supplies, export of goods or services or both, and interstate supplies of persons having the same permanent account number to be computed on all India basis, but excludes central tax, central state tax, union territory tax and the integrated tax and cess. So in nutshell, aggregate turnover is the aggregate of all taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export supplies and interstate supplies. Then that too to be computed on an all India basis. Now according to the explanation to section 22, the expression aggregate turnover shall include all supplies made by a taxable person, whether on his own account or on the behalf of the principal. Supply of goods by a job worker shall be added in the turnover of the principal and not in the turnover of the job worker. Now this threshold limit is 20 lakh and 10 lakh for the special category states. What are the special category states? As per subclause G of clause 4 of article 279A of the Constitution, special category states are the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So these are the special category states for which the turnover limit for getting registered in GST is 10 lakh. For rest all other states, this threshold limit is 20 lakh. Now every person who makes a supply from the territorial waters of India shall obtain registration in the coastal state or union territory where the nearest point of the appropriate baseline is located. Where a person who has obtained or is required to obtain registration in a state or a union territory in respect of an establishment and it has an establishment in another state or union territory, then such establishments shall be treated as establishments of distinct persons for the purpose of this Act. Meaning thereby, if I have an office in Delhi and I am also having an office in the state of Maharashtra, then my office in Delhi and office in Maharashtra shall be treated as distinct persons. Now every person shall have a permanent account number in order to apply for registration, but there are certain organizations who are not required to have a permanent account number. These are the persons required to deduct TDS under section 51. They may have a tax deduction and collection account number in lieu of PAN. Next is the non-resident taxable persons. Next is the any specialized agency of the United Nations organization or any multilateral financial institution and organization notified under the United Nations Privilege and Immunities Act 1947, consulate or embassy of foreign countries and any other person or class of persons as may be notified by the Commissioner. They shall be granted a unique identity number for the purpose of getting registration in GST. Next, section 23, the following persons shall not be liable for registration. Who are these? Any person engaged exclusively in the business of supplying goods or services or both that are not liable to tax or wholly exempt from tax under this Act or under the IGST Act. An agriculturist to the extent of supply of produce out of the agricultural land. Now, who is an agriculturist? According to section 2 clause 17 of the CGST Act 2017, agricultural means an individual or a Hindu undivided family who undertakes cultivation of land by own labor or by the labor of family or by servants on wages payable in cash or kind or by hired labor under personal supervision or the personal supervision of any member of the family. So an agriculturist is exempt only to the extent of supply of produce out of the cultivation of land. For example, if I have a farmhouse in Gurgaon, would I be called an agriculturist for the purpose of GST? Answer is no. Because according to GST, an agriculturist is a person who undertakes cultivation of land, and I am not undertaking any cultivation of land at my farmhouse, so I would not be considered as an agriculturist. Next, section 24. Now there are certain categories of persons who shall be compulsorily required to get themselves registered in GST irrespective of the threshold limit. These are: first, person making any interstate taxable supply, casual taxable person making taxable supply, persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge, persons who are required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5, that is the categories of services on which e-commerce operator is liable to pay tax on intrastate supplies of goods or services. Non-resident taxable person making a taxable supply, persons who are required to deduct tax under section 51 whether or not separately registered under this act, persons who make taxable supply of goods or services or both on behalf of other taxable persons whether as an agent or otherwise, input service distributor. Next, persons who supply goods or services or both other than the supplies specified under section 9 subsection 5 through such e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source under section 52. So persons who are required to collect tax at source under section 52 are required to get themselves registered. Every e-commerce operator, every person supplying online information and database access or retrieval services from a place outside India to a person in India other than a registered person, and such other person or class of persons as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council. So these are the basic list of persons who are required to take registration even if their turnover is below the threshold limit. Now next provision is registration related to casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. The certificate of registration granted to a casual taxable person or a non-resident taxable person shall be valid for the period specified in the application for registration or 90 days, which is further extendable to 90 days from the effective date of registration, whichever is earlier. Such person shall make taxable supplies only after the issuance of certificate of registration. A casual taxable person or a non-resident taxable person shall make an advance deposit of tax in an amount equivalent to the estimated tax liability of such person for the period for which registration is sought for. The amount deposited shall be credited to the electronic cash ledger of such person. Next is cancellation of registration. The proper officer may, either of his own motion or on an application filed by the registered person or by his legal heirs in the case of death of such person, cancel the registration in such form and manner as may be prescribed in a case where the business has been discontinued, transferred fully for any reason including death of the proprietor, amalgamated with other legal entity, demerged or otherwise disposed of, or there is any change in the constitution of the business, or the taxable person other than the person registered under subsection 3 of section 25 is no longer liable to be registered under section 22 or 24. Now we will discuss the GST business process and the draft rules for registration. Rule number 1. Application for registration. For the purpose of making the application for new registration, the taxable person would be required to provide the details in Form GST REG 01 on the common portal. There are two parts of this form GST REG 01. In part A, the applicant has to declare the PAN number, mobile number and email address on which the common portal directly or through a facilitation center notified by the board or the commissioner. PAN would be verified by the common portal from the CBDT database, and mobile number and email address is to be validated by the applicant through one-time password. Next is, once the details in part A are confirmed, then the applicant has to fill part B of Form GST REG 01. On the receipt of the application, an acknowledgement would be generated in Form GST REG 02. For a casual taxable person, the draft rules provide for a temporary reference number which would be granted by the common portal once the applicant makes the advance deposit of estimated tax liability for the period for which the registration is sought. Next is verification of application. Rule 2. Once the application is filed, the proper officer would examine the application and documents submitted. Diagrammatic presentation of the process of verification is reproduced below. First, an application has to be filed in GST REG 01. Then an acknowledgement is generated in GST REG 02. In case the application is found to be deficient, then the proper officer will intimate electronically in GST REG 03 within 3 working days. Applicant to furnish deficiency in Form GST REG 04 within 7 working days. If the proper officer is satisfied, then he may grant the certificate of registration in Form GST REG 06. But in case he is not satisfied, then the proper officer may reject the application in writing in Form GST REG 05. So this is the process for the verification of application. Next is separate registration. Rule 3. Issue of registration certificate. Registration certificate in Form GST REG 06 showing the principal place of business and additional place of business shall be provided to the applicant on the common portal. Every certificate of registration made available on the common portal shall be digitally signed by the proper officer under the Act. So even the proper officer has to digitally sign the each and every form which he is verifying. Rule 4. Separate registration for multiple business verticals within a state. Separate application for registration in Form GST REG 01 can be filed for each business vertical. No business vertical of a taxable person shall be granted registration to pay tax under Section 10, that is composition scheme, if any of the other business verticals of the same person is paying tax under Section 9. All separately registered business verticals of such person shall pay tax under this Act on supply of goods or services or both to another registered business vertical of such person and issue a tax invoice for such supply. Next is Rule 5. Grant of registration to persons required to deduct tax at source or collect at source. An applicant who is required to deduct tax at source under Section 51 or collect tax at source under Section 52 shall submit an application in Form GST REG 07 for grant of registration. Issue of registration certificate within 3 working days in Form GST REG 06 from the date of submission of application. In case the said person is no longer liable to deduct or collect tax as source, the proper officer may cancel the registration and communicate the same to the said person in Form GST REG 08. Some other relevant provisions. Rule 6. Grant of registration to non-taxable persons. A non-resident taxable person shall submit an application in Form GST REG 09 at least 5 days prior to the commencement of the business and make an advance deposit of tax in an amount equivalent to the estimated tax liability for the period for which registration is sought using the temporary reference number generated by the common portal. The application for registration made by a non-resident taxable person shall be signed by his authorized signatory, who shall be a person residing in India and shall be having a valid PAN. Next is Rule 6A. Grant of registration to a person supplying online information and database access or retrieval service from a place outside India to a non-taxable online recipient. Any person supplying online information and database access or retrieval service from a place outside India to a non-taxable online recipient shall electronically submit an application for registration duly signed in form GST Reg 09A on the common portal. The proper officer shall issue a certificate of registration in form GST Reg 06. Rule 7. Extension in period of operation by a casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. A non-resident taxable person or a casual taxable person may apply for extension in the period of registration by submitting an application in form GST Reg 10 on the common portal before the end of the validity of registration granted to him and make a payment of advance amount of his estimated liability during such extended period. Now, a proviso has been added to this rule. It has been provided that in the case of a business entity incorporated or established outside India, an application for registration shall be submitted along with its tax identification number or unique number on the basis of which entity is identified by the government of that country or its PAN. Next is Rule 8, suo motu registration. Where pursuant to any survey, enquiry, inspection, search or any other proceedings under the Act, the proper officer finds that a person liable to registration under the Act has failed to apply for such registration, such officer may register the said person on a temporary basis and issue an order in form GST Reg 11. Consequent to the above, such person shall apply for permanent registration within 30 days from the grant of temporary registration in the manner prescribed in Rule 1 or Rule 5. So you can see so many forms are prescribed. Even the proper officer is required to upload a form if he want to verify, if he want to ask for certain additional documents. A separate form is required for each activity. So the compliance is many-fold in GST. Now coming over to the next rule, Rule 9, assignment of unique identity number to certain special entities. Specialized agencies like the United Nations, who are required to obtain a unique identity number under section 25 subsection 9, may submit an application in form GST Reg 12. Proper officer shall assign a unique identity number to the said person and issue a certificate in form GST Reg 06 within 3 working days from the date of submission of application. So the grant of registration certificate is 3 working days. Then Rule 10, display of registration certificate and the GST identification number in the name board. Every registered person would be required to display his certificate of registration in prominent location at his principal place of business and at every additional place of business. Further, he would be required to display his GSTIN number in the name board exhibited at the entry gate of the principal place of business and at every additional place of business. Next is Rule 11, amendment of registration. For amendment in particulars furnished in form GST Reg 01, 07, 09, 09A, 12 application for amendment to be filed electronically in Form GST REG 13 along with requisite documents within 15 days of such change. For change in the legal name of business, principal place of business, details of partners, directors or equivalent, officer would approve amendment within 15 working days from the date of receipt of application in Form GST REG 13 and issue an order in Form GST REG 14. The amendment would take effect from the date of occurrence of the event warranting amendment. For other changes, certificate of registration would stand amended upon submission of application in Form GST REG 13. However, in case of change in constitution of any business resulting in change of PAN of registered person, fresh application in Form GST REG 01 has to be filed. Next, Rule 12, application for cancellation of registration. For cancellation of registration, a registered taxable person shall submit an application in Form GST REG 14, including the details of closing stock and liability thereon, details of the payment, if any, made against such liability, along with the application, relevant documents in support thereof. And in case of voluntary registration, no application for cancellation of registration shall be considered before the expiry of 1 year from the effective date of registration. Next, Rule 13, registration to be cancelled in certain cases. The registration granted to a person is liable to be cancelled if the said person does not conduct any business from the declared place of business or issues invoice or bill of supply of goods or services in violation of the provisions of this Act and the rules made thereunder. See, such harsh provisions have been incorporated in the GST Act. So if I am issuing a tax invoice or the bill of supply in violation, then my registration may get cancelled. Such harsh provisions have been implemented in the GST Act for the first time. Next, Rule 14, cancellation of registration. Proper officer may issue a notice to the applicant in Form GST REG 16 to show cause within 7 working days as to why the registration should not be cancelled. The reply to the same shall be furnished in Form GST REG 17. Proper officer, if satisfied with the reply, may issue an order in Form GST REG 19 to drop the proceedings. Where a person is no longer liable to be registered or his registration is liable to be cancelled, the proper officer shall issue an order in Form GST REG 18 within 30 days from the date of application and direct him to pay arrears of any tax, interest or penalty, including the amount liable to be paid under Section 29 subsection 5. Next is Rule 15, revocation of cancellation of registration. A taxable person may submit an application to revoke cancellation of registration in Form GST REG 21 within 30 days from the date of service of the order of cancellation of registration. The order of revocation of cancellation of registration shall be issued in Form GST REG 22. Before rejecting the application, an opportunity of being heard shall be provided by issue of notice in Form GST REG 23, and the applicant shall furnish the reply within 7 working days from the date of the service of the notice in Form GST REG 24. So as you can see, there are so many forms. One form for the issuance of the show cause notice, one form to give reply to the notice, one form for the order of the notice. So there are multiple forms required for conducting any transaction. Next is Rule 16, Migration of persons registered under earlier law. Every person registered under an earlier law and having PAN would be granted registration on a provisional basis and certificate of registration in form GST REG 25 along with the GSTIN, which would be made available on the common portal. Every person who has been granted provisional registration would be required to submit an application in form GST REG 26 duly signed along with the requisite documents on the common portal. In case the application is found to be correct and complete, the certificate of registration in form GST REG 06 would be granted. However, if the application is incomplete in any manner, an officer may cancel provisional registration in form GST REG 28. Before the cancellation of registration, the officer may serve notice to show cause in form GST REG 27 with reasonable opportunity of being heard. In case a person is not liable to be registered under the GST Act, the said person may, at his option, file application in form GST REG 29 for cancellation of registration that was granted provisionally. Next rule is Rule 17, physical verification of business premise. The proper officer may verify the place of business and upload the verification report along with other documents including photographs in form GST REG 29 within 15 working days following the date of such verification. Next is Rule 18, method of authentication. All documents required to be submitted under these rules shall be filed electronically with digital signature or through e-signature as specified under Information Technology Act 2000 or through any other mode as may be notified. So in the final rules, an additional mode for authentication of application submitted in the registration rules have been prescribed, that is through Aadhaar based electronic verification code. It is provided that where the mode of authentication of any document is selected as through Aadhaar based electronic verification code, it shall be done within 2 days of furnishing the said document. It is further provided that a registered person registered under the Companies Act 2013 shall furnish the documents or application verified through digital signature certificate only. So, I hope you have understood all the business processes and the rules for registration. Now, I will give you in brief what are the different registration forms, the summary of registration forms. First is GST REG 01. It is the application for registration other than a non-resident taxable person, a person supplying online information and database access or retrieval service from a place outside India to a non-taxable online recipient, a person required to deduct tax at source, and a person required to collect tax at source. Next form is GST REG 02. It's the acknowledgement. GST REG 03. Notice for seeking additional information or clarification or documents relating to the application for registration amendment or cancellation. Next form from GST REG 04. Clarification or additional information or document for registration amendment or cancellation. Form REG 05. Order of rejection of application for registration amendment or cancellation. REG 06. Registration certificate. REG 07. Application for registration as a tax deducted at source under section 51 or tax collected at source under section 52. REG 08. Order of cancellation of registration as tax deducted at source or as tax collected at source. REG 09. Application for registration of non-resident taxable person. REG 010. Application for registration of a person supplying online information and database access or retrieval services. REG 11. Application for extension of registration period by a casual or a non-resident taxable person. REG 12. Order of grant of temporary registration or suo motu registration. REG 13, application or form for grant of unique identity number to the United Nations bodies, as embassies or others. REG 14, application for amendment in registration particulars for all types of registered persons. REG 15, order of amendment. REG 16, application for cancellation of registration. REG 17, show cause notice for cancellation of registration. REG 18, reply to the show cause notice for cancellation. REG 19, order for cancellation of registration. REG 20, order for dropping the proceedings for cancellation of registration. REG 21, application for revocation of cancellation of registration. REG 22, order for revocation of cancellation of registration. REG 23, show cause notice for rejection of application for cancellation of registration. REG 24, reply to the notice for rejection of application for revocation of cancellation of registration. REG 25, certificate of provisional registration. REG 26, application for enrollment of existing taxpayer. REG 27, show cause notice for cancellation of provisional registration. REG 28, order of cancellation of provisional registration. REG 29, application for cancellation of provisional registration, and REG 30, form for the field visit report. So in all there are 30 forms for registration in GST, 30 forms that are required to be filed. Now here is a summarized GST registration framework. Registration under GST, migration of existing assessees having valid PAN. There can be three types of assessees: assessees registered under state VAT law, assessees registered under central excise law, assessees registered under service tax law. These are required to follow the enrollment process as prescribed on www.gst.gov.in. Next is registration for new assessees. Assessees liable for registration as per section 22 read with section 24, that is GST registration for new businesses and implementation, registration for certain key compliance or specified assessees. Assessee is liable for registration as per section 22 read with section 27, that is GST registration procedure for TDS, TCS, ISD, casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person to be prescribed. Now what are the steps that are required to be followed? Step 1, obtain provisional ID or password from the state or the central authorities. Step 2, visit the GST portal www.gst.gov.in and click on the new user login tab. Step 3, log in to the GSTN portal using the provisional ID and password. Update and validate the email ID and mobile number through OTP. Step 4, create a new unique ID and password and answer 5 security questions. Once the same is done, a provisional registration shall be granted in GST 25. Step 5, log in using the new unique ID and password on the GST portal. Step 6, fill up the enrollment application form in form GST REG 26 by providing the required information and documents. Step 7, sign electronically through a digital signature, mandatory for corporates, or e-signature, and submit. An application reference number shall be generated. Step 8, the proper officer may cancel the provisional registration by issuing an order in form GST REG 28 if he believes that the information furnished is incorrect or incomplete. But before cancellation of registration, the proper officer shall issue a show cause notice in form GST REG 27 and provide a reasonable opportunity of being heard. Any person registered under the earlier law but not required to get registration under the GST may, at his option, apply for cancellation of provisional registration. in Form GST REG 29. It is pertinent to note that all the applications reply to the notices shall be filed electronically and authenticated using the digital signature or the e-signature as prescribed under the IT Act 2000. Here is the summarized document checklist which is required at the time of applying for the GST registration. Now I will demonstrate how to fill up an application for registration in Form GST REG 01. There are two parts for GST REG 01, Part A and Part B. In Part A, the user is required to provide his PAN number, email ID and mobile number. As soon as the PAN number of the person is written, the legal name of the business is populated automatically. Once the Part A is filled and verified, then only the user would be able to fill Part B of the registration certificate. Now let us see what are the contents for Part B. Point number 1, trade name, the name of the trade if any. Second, constitution of the business, whether the company is a proprietorship or a Hindu undivided family or a company or a government department or a society or a club, the user has to tick the appropriate column. Then name of the state in which he is applying for registration, the jurisdiction of the assessee, option for composition, whether the assessee wants to opt for the composition scheme or no. Point 6.1, category of registered person, whether he is a manufacturer or a supplier making supplies referred to in Schedule 2 or any other supplier eligible for composition levy. So he has to select the category of the registered person, the date of the commencement of the business, the date on which the liability to register arise. Next, are you applying for registration as a casual taxable person? Yes or no, the user has to take one column. If selected yes, then the period for which registration is required. If selected yes, enter the estimated supplies and estimated net tax liability during the period of registration. So the period for which registration is sought shall be filled only when you are applying for registration as a casual taxable person. So what are the types of tax? Then point number 12, are you applying for registration as an SEZ unit? If you are an SEZ unit, then you have to tick this column. You have to put the name of the SEZ, the approval order number and the date of order, and the designation of the approving authority. Next is point number 13. Are you applying for registration as an SEZ developer? So if you are an SEZ developer, then you need to fill in the details as mentioned in point number 13. In point number 14, the user is required to state the reason to obtain registration, whether he is crossing the threshold or whether he is making interstate supply or whether he is a person liable to pay tax under reverse charge, etc. Then in point number 15, indicate existing registrations wherever applicable. So if he has taken a registration in any other state, he has to state the registration numbers of that other states in point number 15. Like registration under VAT, the central sales tax registration, entry tax registration, entertainment tax, hotel and luxury tax, central excise, service tax registration number, import export code, registration number in the Medicinal and the Toilet Preparations Act. Next, in point 16, the user has to mention the address of his principal place of business. He has to enter the nature of premise, whether it is owned, leased, rented, consent, shared. The user also has to specify the nature of business activity being carried out at or above mentioned premises, like whether he is manufacturing or is a wholesale business, leasing business, works contract. So user has to tick on the appropriate section. In point number 17, the user has to provide the details of the bank account. In point number 18, the user has to specify the details of the goods supplied by the business. The user has to give the details of the goods HSN code wise and description of the goods. Then in point number 19, the user has to give the details of services supplied by the business. The user has to provide the description of service and the service accounting code. Now in point number 20, the user has to specify the details of additional places of business in that particular state, if he is ending any other branch within the same state. In point number 21, the details of proprietor or all partners, karta, managing director, whole-time director or the members of the managing committee. The user has to provide the details regarding the same. In point number 22, the user has to provide the details of authorized signatory. He has to tick who is the primary authorized signatory for the purpose of signing the applications under the GST Act and who is the authorized signatory. In point number 23, the user has to provide the details of authorized signatory like the enrollment ID, his PAN number, his Aadhaar card, his name, designation, mobile number, email address, telephone number and fax number. In point number 24, the user has to specify state specific information like professional tax, enrollment code, professional tax registration certificate, state excise license number, etc. Thereafter, the user has to upload the documents wherever required. Next, the user has to tick on the consent form. And lastly, the application for registration has to be verified by the authorized signatory. So, after filling in the required details, the application in form GST REG1 is submitted. Once the application in form GST REG01 is submitted, an acknowledgement in form GST REG2 is generated. Here is the format of the acknowledgement form. Next, I would like to show the registration certificate provided in form GST REG06. In the registration certificate, the GSTIN number of the taxable person would be provided, its legal name, trade name if the trade name is different from the legal name, the constitution of the business, address of the principal place of business, date of liability, period of liability. This section is applicable only in case of non-resident taxable person or casual taxable person. Next is the type of registration and third is the particulars of the approving authority. So these are the particulars that would be mentioned in the registration certificate. So this completes with the provisions relating to registration and its formats. Hope you all find it useful. Thank you.